Former Senator Bernie Sanders, there have been a lot of major labor victories this year, but you have been lamenting that we don't, in the modern era, seem to have as many labor songs in popular music as we have in previous eras of the pro-labor movement. Does that bum you out? You've reached out and basically said to artists, let's have some.
Well, you don't want to hear me sing. That you don't want to hear.
No.
But what I know, and you know, and I think most people know, is that a great song can capture the souls of people and bring people together. And you think about Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger and all of those people, and the music that they wrote and that they sang spoke to what was going on in the country and the need for human solidarity, for everybody supporting everybody else, and for people coming together to stand up and fight, for justice. So I love that stuff. I'm a big fan of Woody Guthrie and all these guys. And what we are going to do is try to get the best songwriters and musicians that we can find to talk about contemporary issues, not the 1930s, but what's going on right now in 2022, and see what we can do with that.
Do you listen to any sort of non-pro-labor music, or is
Occasionally, yes.
Occasionally, yeah. Hey, I want to ask about your brother. So your brother, you were over sort of doing rallies for the rail workers in the UK, and your brother is a politician over there. This is your brother, Larry.
Yes, it is.
Larry Sanders.
Yep.
And when you grew up, is this a surprise that you both got into progressive politics?
Well, I would not be sitting here with you today if it wasn't for my brother. My brother bought my parents, my father dropped out of school when he was 14. We didn't have a whole lot of books in the house, and my brother really shaped my education in many respects. So I love him very much. Just had the opportunity to see him and a lot of my nieces and nephews in London. So we had a great time.
That's one. Did you know, by the way, so this is his logo, and I'm wondering if he asked or who had it first, because that's...
He has been active in the Green Party over there, and he was on the Oxfordshire County Council for a number of years.
Now, did you guys ever threaten your parents as a form of rebellion of maybe being conservative?
Did we form a union, a brothers' union? Go on strike? No.
Unionize? I remember you guys, because at the time your allowance was unlivable. You couldn't have a livable wage.
Go on strike for more allowance. That's an idea now. It's going to spread all over this country. I see kids now organizing.
You've had the pleasure of campaigning for each other over the years. That must be a surreal moment to get up and be able to talk about somebody you probably know better than anyone to voters.
Well, we grew up in a 3.5-room rent-controlled apartment in Brooklyn. You all heard of Brooklyn.
That's the first anyone here thought you were from New York.
It's the Vermont accent.
Yeah, it's so thick, your Vermont accent.
But, I used to, go tramping around with him, knocking on doors and stuff when we were young.
Well, so he's been in the UK for quite a while. Has he lost his Brooklyn accent?
It's kind of a weird mixture of English accent plus Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, because, But
I can't understand my nieces and nephews. I got to say that. It's hard to understand these kids.
Well, we would definitely appreciate your honesty. So what, I think, if I can just bring it back to midterms one more time, it does seem like, the left has been, I don't know, energized by the worst possible reason, which was Dobbs. And then you have, so maybe the left is surging ahead based on abortion, but it does seem like the right dominates the economy as it gets closer and closer to an election. What do politicians in the Democratic Party have to do?
Look, what you have to say is be honest about what Republicans stand for. Republicans have made clear, Mitch McConnell and others, that they want to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. I think that's a horrible thing to do, but it's bad politically. The entire world is worried about the crisis of climate change, and these guys are really indebted to the fossil fuel industry. They're not going to do anything on it. Many of us want to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. I introduced legislation for $15 an hour, which is not enough now. We had zero Republican support. So I think if you look at the Republican Party issue by issue, it is clear that they are the party that represents the wealthy and the powerful. Are the Democrats doing enough for working people? No. But I think the contrast between the two is strong enough that I would hope that all over this country, people reject this right-wing extremism and put Democrats back in office in the House and the Senate.
Well, I really appreciate you making the time as always. Keep up the good fight in D.C. for us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Bernie Sanders, everybody.